We got to sit down for this one. Not an easy one to talk about. Sound of Freedom by Angel Studios. I got to be honest with you guys. This is not the first time that I've seen this movie. In July of last year, my buddy invited me to go watch it. And he said it would be a good movie for you to review because it tackles very deep and dark subjects. I had no idea what it was. I never heard of it before. I had no idea what I was walking into. And I watched it and didn't review it, obviously. Well, I didn't review it because I was scared of what you guys would think of my opinion of the movie. Seeing that over 100 of you voted for me to review this movie, I'm going to be true to myself in my opinion, but I also watched it a second time on Amazon Prime, which has it, and no other streaming service that I saw had it. Very odd. Very weird. I've also heard stories before I even went to go watch it that Netflix passed on the movie and a few other people, studios passed on the movie. And it's a big deal, in my opinion, that Prime Video has it up. So if you're a Prime member, you can check it out if you didn't get to see it in theaters. Upon second viewing of this movie, I still have some of the same sentiments, but this time it hit me harder. And I think this time it hit me harder because I chose to watch it this time. It's a big thing with me. If I don't choose to do something and I have to do it, I kind of get agitated. And that's kind of how I felt after the first time. But this time, being in the same space as my own child, just a couple rooms away, it hits harder. Now, by the way, this is all real deal, true story. But the actor who plays Timothy, he looks kind of like Jack Swagger, Jake Hagar, WWE, AEW wrestler. And I've seen him before in some things, but nothing stood out. But I'm like, he looks familiar. Then I found out his name was Jim Caviezel. I haven't seen Jim Caviezel in a movie in like decades. And I'm sure he's done them. The way he is playing Tim Ballard is a little dry. I don't know Tim Ballard, the real person. They show him at the end of this film. But there's a pain in Jim Caviezel's eyes that go really well with this character. There's just not much else outside of that pain. Now, mind you, if you're doing the type of job that his character would have to do, there's not much joy that you're going to get anyway. Because you are looking, your whole job is to rescue these children and take in these pedophiles, and you have to look and see things that you can't erase from your mind. See, we've seen movies about sex trafficking before. I got told the movie Taken, which sounds like it's right up my alley, right? It's an action movie. If you get to know this channel, I like horror and I like action. I've seen sex trafficking action movies before. Rambo Last Blood. Another movie from Dolph Lundgren called Skin Trade. The thing that those movies have in common is there's something entertaining there to keep you engaged in the film so that you get the message, but also leave the movie entertained. And that right there is why I didn't review this movie the first time. I was afraid that you guys would be like, you missed the point of the movie. And believe me, I have not missed the point of the movie. I'm a father. This would tear me apart. But I still feel like if you put a movie on film and expect people to go to it, you do have to entertain them. And that is one of the biggest issues about this movie, is that past 30 minutes, this movie gets very just lukewarm, and they spend a lot of time backtracking, but putting you where you are, but backtracking, but putting you where you are. Nothing grabs you as a viewer. That is where I start to fall, and where I fell in the theater is the same place I fell watching it at home in terms of my interest in what I was looking at the screen. I didn't know it was this bad. Child sex trafficking, right? When you have so many distractions, stuff behind you, what you guys are watching right now, and so many other things, you tend to avoid real life. And this brings it home that real life is brutal, man. The final scene, this I felt differently about. When I watched it the first time, I said, what a missed opportunity. They could have done so much more in that room. There could have been so much more action. This time I watched it differently. I realized we were viewing the climactic scene between Timothy and the final boss through the little girl's eyes, because he has her close her eyes. When you close your eyes, you only hear things. And when she opens her eyes, she sees glimpses of this fight, of this final battle. That's smart. For a crew that didn't have much money, maybe not much time to do more stunts, that is very smart. And finally, at the end, thank God, this one family is reunited. Just one. And Timothy went out of his way big time to save this family. I noticed something that I didn't notice when I watched it at home, that I didn't notice at the theater. I saw the name Mel Gibson pop up on the screen. And Mel Gibson, for me, right, is action movie star. And a little bit of comedy in the mid-90s. And you guys got to understand something about me. I don't dive into the news. I don't know the scandals that these guys have had. I don't know what political side. I don't know any of that. Because I like what I like and I only watch that, and I don't care about the rest of the stuff. For Mel Gibson to bring this to the forefront is tremendous. It's huge. I'm going to say that because this movie deals with child sex trafficking, and we've heard a lot of horror stories from Hollywood actors, young actors who grew up still not really telling their truth, but having a lot of pain in their eyes when they speak about certain things, is that Hollywood probably has a huge sex trafficking problem. And they don't want to shine any light on that. And they don't want to expose, the deep underbelly by supporting this movie. That's what I got just off of a couple searches. If you only watch it once, it is worth a watch because it brought that consciousness to me of what exists. So I'm going to give Sound of Freedom 3 bandanas out of 5. Normally a 3 bandana movie for me is something I can rewatch. But the message was so powerful in this movie that it makes it something that I'll never forget. Would I enjoy rewatching this movie over and over? Absolutely not. But did it do its job in making me aware of an issue I didn't know was truly an issue? Yes, it did. Check out Sound of Freedom on Amazon Prime.